Good afternoon. It's the 2022 NFL preview. Like and subscribe, aid, and comment. This is something that I do every single year. A buddy of mine, when I was in college, Carl, we used to get tired of hearing people saying, "Oh, I knew they were going to win the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah." So it was like, put up and shut up. Carl's deceased now for many years. But to continue the tradition, I pick every single game and pick the Super Bowl. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you the winner of every game, but I am going to tell you what teams will beat what. This is the NFC video. And I have 5 rules that I follow. First rule, no team goes undefeated. No team goes winless. Yes, we've had 2 winless teams since 1990. And of course, the Patriots did run the table until getting smashed by Eli Manning in Super Bowl 42. But it's just not realistic to think a team is going to run the table anymore. So I never put it in there. Second rule, one and only one team can go 16-1, and one and only one team can go 1-16, if at all. Now, we have had multiple years where 2 teams have had the 1 loss or the 1 win, but again, it's just not very likely. So I only allow myself for a single one. Now, because of the overtime change rules over the last few years, I do allow teams to have 1 tie. And in this video, I will have at least 1 tie presented. In addition to that, after last year's, should the Chargers have just, stopped playing last week of the season, if a tie would send both teams in the playoffs, I will consider it. The fourth thing that I look at is in the last 2 weeks of the season, I do take a look at schedule. And what's great is I'm using, for the 4th or 5th year in a row, I'm using playoffpredictors.com. Literally, you can do NFL and MLB, NBA. You can pick every single game in the season. It tabulates what the records are at that point, and it'll help you figure out all of the good seeding and all of that good stuff. And finally, I always reserve the right before the season starts to make changes if the quarterback is changed or injured in preseason. This year, the reason why it's been delayed, of course, on the AFC side, which is in a different video, you've had issues with Cleveland and the Jets. And on this side, it's been, where does Jimmy G go? And Jimmy G's been re-signed by the Niners. Will it play into my playoff predictions? Possibly. So, and even though my state with my great governor, Ron DeSantis, did sign into law the legalization of sports gambling, the courts shut it down, so this is for entertainment purposes only. Alrighty, so we're going to start this video with the NFC South, and just to stay right off the bat, one team I have in the playoffs will have a losing record. The NFC is top-heavy, and I think of the 80 intra-conference games with the AFC, I think I have the NFC losing like 60 of them. So I got a lot of bad records that are coming in this NFC. The worst team in the conference and tied with the worst team in the league I have as the Atlanta Falcons. I do not have them winning a game until, let me see, I have them with their first win in week 4. I have them going 3-14. The only wins I have are against Cleveland, against Carolina, and Arizona late in the season. The third place in the division I have is the Saints. No good quarterback, shall be left behind. I do have them starting off strong, beating Atlanta and Carolina, but they're only going to get 4 wins this season. I have them winning a last game of the season against Carolina and beating Atlanta. So I literally have them going 4-2 in their division and going 4-13 overall. That is how strong I think of the South. At 5-12, I have Carolina with a... well, I think Baker probably will figure out he will be the quarterback for the run, but they're just not ready with what they have, and they will have wasted Christian McCaffrey with that giant contract after they went opening day against Cleveland. I have them losing until week 10 over Atlanta, And then I have them beating Seattle, Carolina in the last week, beating New Orleans, and I have them beating Detroit. And for your divisional winner, I got Tom Brady at 13-4. I have them beating New Orleans, Green Bay, Kansas, losing to Kansas City, and Dallas. So they're going to start 2-2, and then they're going to go right on a run. They're going to beat Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Carolina, the Ravens. They'll beat Seattle, and they'll win 6 of their last 7 after the bye. They'll beat Cleveland, New Orleans, San Fran, Cincy, Arizona, Carolina, and a meaningless Atlanta game. To be meaningless because they will not have the number 1 overall seed. Then I'm going to go to the hardest division in football, the NFC West. Now, Seattle, I got at 5-12, going 2-4 in the division. They have no quarterback that we care about. They're going to lose opening night against their old quarterback in Denver. Have the first win coming in week 3 against Atlanta. They're going to beat New Orleans. They're going to beat the Giants, Arizona, and their last win is going to be last week of the season against the Rams. I'll explain why in just a second. They will tie Arizona for 5-12. I not only think that Arizona will fall apart at the end of the season, I think they will fall apart in the middle of the season. I've got them starting the season on 0-2. They'll beat the Rams. They'll beat Carolina. They'll beat Seattle. They'll beat New Orleans. And for their last win of the season, I have them winning the last game of the season against San Francisco in what will be a meaningless game. So they will lose about 9 games in a row. Now, for the top 2 teams, I think the Rams and the Niners, the Super Bowl champs, I have as a wildcard team at 10-7. They're going to start off by losing to Buffalo tonight. That's my lock of the week, or at least my lock of the day. They're going to beat Atlanta. They're going to struggle the first part of the season. Okay, I have them going 1-4 after week 5. And then they come on. They play a lot of easy teams. Go to Carolina. They'll beat San Francisco. Off of a bye, they'll beat Tampa, Arizona, Saints, Seattle, and they'll win 3 of the last 4. They'll beat Green Bay, Denver, and the Chargers. They won't have to do anything against Seattle. I don't see them winning the division, nor do I see them improving to 5, because I have San Francisco going 12-5. Even though Jimmy G is sitting there, they have a very weak start as far as I'm concerned. They're going to win. I have them winning 6 of the first 7 games. They're going to beat Chicago, Seattle. Their only blank spot is going to be Denver. They're going to beat the Rams. They're going to beat Carolina. They're going to beat Atlanta. They're going to beat Kansas City. And everyone's going to think, hey, they made a great move. And then they're going to be a couple of losses. They're going to lose to the Rams. They're going to come out of the bye and lose to the Chargers. And then I think you're going to get a talk of where you're going to go. Could Jimmy G be the answer at the second half of the season? And then I got him in, which I think they will have him start by about coming after the bye. I think it's going to be a bad loss to the Chargers. And then I got him beating Arizona, New Orleans, Miami, Tampa, Seattle, Washington, the Raiders, and they'll have no availability to move up. I do have them as the 4th seeds, which means I have either the North or the East winning the top seed. I'm going to start with the much aligned NFC East this year. I don't think they are the least. I have Washington with the tie. I have them tying in week 8 against Indy. And I have them going 2-4 in the division. I have them beating Detroit, the Eagles. I have them beating Tennessee, Chicago. No, I don't have them beating Chicago. Sorry. I have them beating Tennessee, one of the few interconference games that are going to be won this year. I have them starting the season out. They're going to be 3-4-1, and then a number of losses. They're going to get their 4th win against Atlanta. They're going to win the last game of the year against Dallas in what could be a meaningful game, because Dallas is kind of the NFC's version of Miami. The 3rd place team is going to be the Giants. I have them going 7-10. I have them beating Carolina. I have them losing a bunch of games and coming out of the bye. I believe they'll have a new quarterback and they'll do strong. I have them winning 6 of their final 8 games. I have them beating Houston, Detroit, Washington twice, the Colts, and the Eagles in a meaningful game, possibly. We'll get to that in a second. I have your top wildcard team as Dallas. Because Dallas will blow it in the last week of the season. They will lose to Washington, but I have them going 12-5. I'm never the guy who slams on Dallas. They are not going to repeat as divisional champs, but I do think 12-5 is very doable for them. I think they're going to start out pretty strong. I have them winning for the first 5 over Tampa, the Giants, Washington, and the Rams. I have them beating Detroit. I have them coming out of their bye and beating Green Bay, Minnesota, the Giants, Colts, Texans, and then I have them struggling a little bit. They're going to beat Philly in Week 16. They're going to beat Tennessee in Week 17, but then I have them losing to Washington in the last week of the season. And then that means for your divisional champs, I have the Eagles at 14-3, going 3-3 in the division, and going 9-3 overall. So I have them beating Detroit. I have them. I'm going to skip the second week of the season because that will determine the top seed. I have them losing to Washington. I have them beating Jacksonville, Arizona, the Cowboys. I have them beating the Steelers, Houston, Washington. I have them beating the Colts, the Packers, Titans. I have them beating the Giants in Week 14. I have them beating Chicago. Having them beating the Eagles, beating the Saints, and beating the Giants to go. The Giants will beat them in the last week, so they'll be 14-3. So now we got to go to the North, figure out who the champ is and what that final tiebreaker is going to be. So with Detroit, I have them going 3-14 with tying for the worst record in the conference. I have them not winning a game until Week 4, where they'll beat Seattle. And then I have them winning in Week 9 against Green Bay and in Week 13 against Jacksonville, and that is all she wrote. I have Chicago going 7-10. I have Chicago waiting to move into Arlington Heights, beating Houston, the Giants, Washington, Dallas, Detroit, Atlanta, then struggling for the rest of the season, only beating Detroit in Week 17 for 7-10. Now, with the worst playoff team in the NFC and as a under 500 wild card, we've never had an under 500 wild card in a non-strike shortened season, and I think it'll be Green Bay. I am all out on this season. This season is going to be Aaron Rodgers equivalent to when Brett Favre played in his final season in Minnesota. I think we finally have the crack of going on it. Minnesota, which will win the division by a mile, will beat them in the first week. And then I have them beating the Bears. I have them beating New England, the Giants, the Jets, Washington. So bad teams, they lose to good teams. They're going to lose to Tampa. They're going to lose to the Bills. I even have them losing to Detroit and Dallas. I have them winning Week 11 against Tennessee. I have them beating Chicago in Week 13. I have them coming out of the bye, the last bye of the season, and losing to the Rams. And then I have them limping into the playoffs, beating Detroit in the last week. It's a game that they will have to win to keep a 7-10 team from making the playoffs. And so that means I got Minnesota as your North champions. And Week 2 will decide whether they're the 1 team or the 2 team. I have them beating Green Bay, Detroit, New Orleans. I have them beating Chicago and the Fins coming off of their bye, beating Arizona, Washington. They will lose to Buffalo. They will lose to Dallas in back-to-back weeks. They will beat New England. They will beat the Jets. They will beat Detroit. They are on the run. They will beat the Colts, the Giants, Green Bay, and Chicago. That's 14 wins because in week 2, I have them losing to the Eagles. That's right, I have the Eagles as the number 1 seed in the NFC. I have Minnesota hosting Green Bay as your 2 and 7 seeds. I have Tampa as your 3 seed, hosting the Rams as 6. And that means I have the Niners as your 4 seed at 12 and 5, hosting Dallas at 12 and 5. And so that means that we are at the end of this video. If you haven't seen the AFC side, go to this side. If you want to see the playoffs, go to this side. And if you want to see some other videos, go somewhere else on my thing. And we'll speak to you soon.